Hi, I'm Max with RevScale Reporting, and this is the trends reporting part of the tool. So, use cases for this is being able to kind of identify and showcase changes over time, especially with comparisons. I mean, this is very similar to the Shopify dashboard tool. In this case, we are comparing the last month. So, like, we have the day selected, the client, the time frames, just the last 30 days. And then I selected day and previous month. So what it's showing is kind of just like what's been happening with like the last 30 to now 60 days, right? So it shows the previous month comparison, and now I can see the same time period but last month. So the previous period, on 6/21 produced $5,800, and then the current period it produced $1,400, right? Let's see. Yeah. With flow revenue as well, you can see that like we're just underperforming last month, and why is that? Maybe because recipients, reduce. If we go to the overview tab back to here, and we go, let's go 5, let's go week. You can see that there was like a big drop in recipients. I mean, it dropped by, half, which means, unless we turn flows off, flow traffic like greatly decreased, right? So, yeah, I mean, this is like very helpful to really gleaning insights overall about how their actual email performance is going based off some of the stuff that's happening on the top of the funnel. There's things that we can't control, like traffic, that are invariably going to affect flows. Okay. Yeah. And tracking like RPR, if you made changes and optimized the flow set like that whole month, you should see like a big increase in RPR. If you added more flows, if you completely revamped their flow set, I mean, all of the metrics should markedly improve. But you can check these KPIs and open rates to really see like what's going on. Like, why are open rates lower this time around? Because less people are seeing it, so they're less likely to open. That's not necessarily always the case. That could be something to dive in, maybe to deliverability, or if there's more spam coming into the flows. Click rates, we can't really trust right now, right? Open rates, kind of same story, where we're getting an increase on the campaign open rates, as well as like the click rates overall. Email revenue, just flat out like email revenue performance, like what's going on. This is just like the total. We're underperforming from last month, and like why is that? We can flip the view back to just the month, and let's go to day. Attributed revenue has, it's all kind of decreased. So it just depends like how you want to use this tool and like what time frames. If we go to the last year and then we switch it to month, you're going to see like different trends, right? This is like a big trend where we've worked with them over the last year, and until recently we have, we started working with them in like March maybe. And that's when things really started kicking up, was like April, May, when flows started turning live. And so when a client is asking for like key, macro metrics, or, you're having a big like quarterly or, annual meeting, this is a really nice like trend set to pull up and say like, hey, our attributed revenue has like increased, markedly. And like, look at this graph, you can see the overall attributed revenue, unattributed revenue, attributed revenue, and then total revenue, right, that's being generated. So, I mean, all these metrics look really good when you overtake a client, right? And then this really just like nails the ballpark home when you start diving into the metrics. And so it just depends on the time frame that you want to look at, right? We can go to weeks, and then it's going to be a bit harder to see the data. So let's go back here. Yeah, so this tool is just like kind of cool to really just see how performance is going like overall, and maybe it's great to just identify if the trend lines look bad, there's a reason why, and you should dive in further to that. If the trend lines are really good, that's great. Show the client, and check out why it's doing good. So I kind of like this because it's really telling a story based off how these flow lines are intersecting each other, right? Like, why did revenue kick up like so high in that last month of May? Yet we're doing so bad now than in June. I mean, in May we typically do more sales. Like there's a big Memorial Day sale, so like that could be the reason why. But there's a clear difference there, right? So like total revenue, was way bigger, and so like that just tells me that they were just pumping way more traffic last month. And June is just kind of like a down period. It's a down period overall for most like e-commerce brands, honestly. And it's kind of nice to see, how much we overperformed, into April, and then May, June. Then we see that story kind of intersect again, where June has just been like a down month overall, and it's like probably there's an overall like impacted feeling that we're seeing, like probably based off just like that top of funnel traffic reducing. But at the same time, with this specific client, we did change the attribution window too. So we're kind of going to expect a drop like overall with all these clients, right? Or with all these metrics. So yeah, I mean, play around with this tool, go to monthly, weekly, or daily. If you reduce the time frame, obviously, if you toggle the time frame on the buttons, you want to reduce like the actual like time frame on the calendars. So just keep in mind that, and you're gonna start more easily be able to paint a picture of like kind of how your email data is like trending up or down based off like how these graphs look. So I think just like keep playing around with this tool and see what's happening. It's kind of a cool thing to kind of screenshot too, to say like, hey, we're doing this much better, or we're doing this much worse this month because of the impact in traffic that we're receiving. What's going on your guys' end, right? So yeah, I would say the trends is more of kind of like an interesting thing to know and glean insights from on a huge macro view and help you like dial in more. But it's probably not maybe as useful as something like individual flow performance or like bigger overviews or like segment performance. But I think there is still like some interesting use cases to see how stuff kind of trends throughout the seasons, or to identify like, hey, like, we trended downward because flow traffic reduced, or because we sent less campaigns, or we didn't do any sales this month, right? And this is the impact. And this is, I really like this too, just to see like, even if you just do like the last 6 months, there's a lot of like interesting stories to like tell to your clients over time.